I am Mayor Mike Melise. Welcome to the Weymouth Municipal Irrigation Program. Hello, everybody. I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy lives to be here tonight and hear more about the Weymouth Community Electricity Program. I understand a lot of you here tonight because you might be unsure of this program. There's a lot of questions I'm sure that you all have on this program. With us here tonight are Rafida Rashman, Sustainability and Engagement Specialist, Strategic Client Manager for Weymouth. She's sitting here with us this evening. We have John O'Rourke, Director of Marketing and Municipal Affairs. He's sitting here with us tonight, John. And we have Steve DiNatale, Acquisitions and Municipal Affairs. He's also sitting here with us tonight from Good Energy. I'm sorry. Good Energy has been our consultant throughout this process. They have a lot of important information to share with you this evening about the program and will answer any questions you have. I am also joined by John McLeod, Chief Procurement Officer for the Town of Weymouth and Asset Management, as well as Bob O'Connor, the town's Energy Coordinator. Both have worked extremely hard in this project for 6 years to bring this here tonight and can provide historical contents on how this and why the town moved forward with this municipal program. By the end of the evening tonight, hopefully you'll have all your questions answered and you'll have enough information to make the best possible decision for yourself and your family. And I think it'll be a very informative meeting, and hopefully everyone will be happy at the end of the meeting and know exactly where we are. So I'm going to turn it over to these experts over here, and they'll answer any questions, describe the program and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. For anybody who doesn't know who I am, my name is John McLeod. I'm the Director of Asset Management and the Chief Procurement Officer for the town. Been with the town of Weymouth since 2007 and in this role since 2017. Prior to that, I was a project manager and senior project manager for many projects throughout the town. In 2016, Mayor Hedlund and the administration thought it would be the best idea to create a Department of Asset Management for a few reasons. One, the town facility and energy efficiency upgrades, town building and energy aggregation, so we aggregated our town facility building energy at that point. LED street light upgrades and solar off-taking program, and many more. My department oversees the grounds and buildings for all municipal structures and any of the large special projects. This being one of them. In 2017, we went down the road of aggregating our town facility electricity and gas. That proved to have great dividends very quickly due to the volume of electricity we use. So how did we get here for the community aggregation? In 2018, MAPC, the Mass Area Planning Council, came out with a program where they were promoting community aggregation because it was going to go statewide. Weymouth had a community of around 55,000 people at the time. We were one of the communities that they wanted to talk to initially to get feedback and start developing some plans. In 2018, there were a few that were already in the lane to do community aggregation. It very quickly got more popular, and the DPU started to developing a matrix on how to approve the plans that were being presented to them. We started to look more and more at other communities that were interested in consulting with MAPC and brought in several consultants to work with us and get their feedback, so we were looking for what we could do for Weymouth and what the best course of action would be. Through that, Good Energy was one of those consultants. After talking for months with them and others, we decided that Good Energy was probably the route to go, and they answered all of our questions and seemed to have the best handle on how this was going to unfold over the next several years throughout the state. So bringing them on board for further conversations and consultations, we went through town council, presented with them to get the buy-in from the council and then through the rest of the administration, and everything was headed in a positive direction. Fortunately, 2020 came, and we ended up in a pandemic, which derailed us for a couple of years. After getting back on track in about 2023, we started to redevelop the plan, and the DPU kind of pulled their thought process back a little and started changing some of the structure. So we paused. We thought pausing at that point would be beneficial to see what was going to come back out of the DPU and how it would affect anything that we were going to move forward with. So doing our due diligence on that end, it was prudent for us to do it. So we then went forward with an additional plan through Good Energy to go to the DPU, which included public notification, a public meeting, and other things that we did along the way. Approximately 2 years in that process. We went to the town council, presented to them, got another vote, went forward and presented our plan to the DPU. What we got feedback and we got back from Good Energy was the DPU responded with it was one of the quickest approved plans that they had seen, which is a credit to the way the plan was developed and the Good Energy putting it forward the way they did. So that's the basics on how we got here to this program. Now, I'll give you a few statistics just to throw a few things out there for some thought or discussion. Good Energy is our consultant and the experts for all of the technical. And they're going to answer any questions you have. We'll open it up in a little bit to the microphone in the middle of the room. So, but with that, just a couple of things. Statistics as of the latest publications are 215 communities or more in the state of Massachusetts are in a community aggregation plan. So we're not by any means on the cutting edge. There are 215 plus communities ahead of us doing a plan. Cities and towns. Reasoning behind why we entered into this, first and foremost, was cost savings. We saw proof and concept in the cost savings of aggregating energy in our town buildings. We were sure it would work if we went community-wide, and the DPU felt the same because they rolled out these projects statewide. So there is a proven record of this working everywhere that they've put it into play. Other than that, the biggest one for me personally was the rate stability. During some of the past years, watching the energy that we use in our town buildings and really keeping your finger on the pulse because of the way the market was going, there were many spikes along the way. Trying to do a town budget and budget the volume of electricity we use was very difficult because of the spikes in the electricity cost. So stabilizing that cost would be a very, very large benefit to us. Therefore, we knew it would be to the general consumer. One of the biggest questions that I've had since we started the process was, what does it cost the town to do this? It doesn't cost the town of Weymouth administration or government any money. There's no charge for us to do it except for the time expended by the employees that are working on the project. The other side of that was, what is the town getting out of it for town administration or general government? The answer again is zero. It's purely for a community benefit to save the taxpayer money and stabilize the costs. The next question we were getting is about the opt-out instead of being able to opt in. And I just want to get that off the table right away. It's by state law that the programs have to be an opt-out program. That's dictated by the state of Massachusetts. And rightfully so. From a procurement lens, the opt-out tells the bidder that we would put our energy out to that we would have a significant number of people that stayed in the program, which gave us the negotiating power to get a better number across the board. One of the things a while back that we were waiting for and making sure of, it was that there was no penalty for any citizen in the town to opt out at any time. If that was not the case, we wouldn't even be here tonight talking about this program. That was our stopping point, no matter where we were, that no matter what, anybody could opt out at any time. So, with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Good Energy. I'll be here to answer anybody's questions if you want to ask me anything about how we did it or whatever. Completely transparent, open. But right now, I'm going to turn it over to Rafita and let her take it away for the rest of the evening.
Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. My name is Rafida Rahman, and I work with Good Energy. And like how John said, we're the consultant assisting the town, and we act as an extension to them to help manage this program. So the presentation will be about 15 to 20 minutes, but then we will also have a Q&A session in case people have any additional questions. Thank you. Yes, so a lot of you should be here because you probably got a letter, and a lot of you might be here if you haven't gotten a letter but have heard about this program. And this program is about electricity, and since you're in Weymouth, it's about your national grid bill. And in that letter, you definitely have heard about this term called municipal aggregation, often called community choice electricity. And as you know, John mentioned that this has been in the works with the town for a number of years, but I'm here to basically break it down so that and help you understand the process. So municipal aggregation is the process by which a municipality, as in a town or a city, can purchases electricity in bulk from a competitive supplier on behalf of residents and businesses within the community. So in this diagram, as you can see, that under supplier services, Weymouth selected an electricity supplier that sourced the electricity needed for the entire community. But under delivery services, it's still National Grid. National Grid will still continue to deliver your electricity, maintain wires and poles, and respond to storm outages. Now, what is the purpose of this program? So the purpose of this program is for the town to offer their residents electricity with product options that offer competitive pricing, long-term price stability, and renewable energy. Although savings cannot be guaranteed, over the years, these programs have had a strong track record compared to the utility supply, also known as basic service. As John mentioned, over 200 cities and towns have had an approved municipal aggregation program like Weymouth. More residential customers are now served by municipal aggregation than utility supply. Yes, so like I mentioned, your electricity bill is divided into two parts, supply and delivery. This program only affects the supply portion. So for order to this program to work, Weymouth needed to choose an electricity supplier, and they chose Dynegy. And Dynegy is an experienced company with a good track record. Currently, they serve about 53 communities in Massachusetts, a lot of which we have personally worked with, and we have observed their performance, which has given us and the communities some good results. So they currently also serve approximately 5 million customers nationally, including over 1.5 million aggregation customers. So what changes? Again, like I mentioned, only so the supply portion of your bill would change with this program. What stays the same? Literally everything else. The delivery portion of your National Grid bill, again, will remain the same. It will continue to deliver your electricity, maintain poles and wires, and respond to storm outages. However, you will not be receiving two separate bills. You will continue to receive one bill from National Grid. And if you have any benefits, like budget billing or low-income rate discounts or net metering or any kind of other solar benefits, those benefits will not be impacted if you partake in this program. So these are our product options. So currently Weymouth is offering two products. One is Weymouth Standard, which is the community default. Another is Weymouth Plus, which is the premium product. So you might be wondering, why was Weymouth Standard chosen as the default? Well, it is the product that you can best compare with the National Grid basic service because it offers the same amount of renewable energy, meeting the state minimum. However, it's much cheaper and more stable than the National Grid product. So the National Grid basic service changes every 6 months. However, the products by Weymouth, both Weymouth Standard and Weymouth Plus, are locked in for 15 months, from October 2025 meter reads to December 2029 meter reads, which is for over 4 years. So currently, the Weymouth Standard is 14.249 cents per kilowatt hour, whereas Weymouth Plus is 15.409 cents per kilowatt hour. Both of them are lesser than the National Grid supply option, which is 15.484 cents per kilowatt hour. And we wouldn't be launching this program if the program products were higher than what the National Grid basic service prices were being offered. However, future savings cannot be guaranteed because, like I mentioned, the National Grid basic service price changes every 6 months. So this is a calculator. So if any of you have gone to the WeymouthCommunityElectricity.com website, which is the town's aggregation program website, and you've wanted to compare costs, so you can go to the menu option and choose the calculator, and then input your monthly kilowatt hour to calculate what will your bill be for the supply. So for an example, let's say the average residential monthly usage of a Weymouth resident is about 500 kilowatt hour. If you input that, you will see that the monthly supply cost for Weymouth Standard comes to about $71, whereas the National Grid basic service rate for residential customers is about $77.42. Now, if you compare, that is like a $6 difference monthly, but annually, that's a savings of about $74. Even for Weymouth Plus, the cost right now is comparable with the National Grid rate, and if you calculate, you'll see that there is still an annually a $5 difference. So, so let's go and talk about participation. Participation is voluntary. There's never any penalty or fee to opt out of the program. And the enrollment process differs based on your current electricity supplier. Now, a lot of you must be wondering, how would you know that you are in the utility basic service? All you have to do is take out your National Grid bill, go to page number 2, see the supplier services portion, and if it says that it's National Grid basic service, like it's shown in the diagram in the presentation, you will know that you're with the utility basic service. Okay, so as you know, sometime in August, the town sent customers a letter that talks about automatic enrollment and the product options offered by Weymouth. Now, the automatic enrollment, like John said, is due to the state law, which authorizes this program to be an opt-out program. This design was intended to give a town or city enough buying power to attract qualified suppliers and negotiate favorable prices for the community. Again, recognizing that savings cannot be guaranteed. No one will be automatically enrolled unless notified, and that's where the letter comes in. Customers may also shop for their own suppliers, but this is for the majority of the people who shall be in the town's program. And like I said before, anyone using National Grid Basic Service is eligible to be automatically enrolled in the Weymouth standard as of their October meter read. Now, if an eligible customer takes no action, they will be enrolled in Weymouth standard starting in October. Now, if anyone is eligible for automatic enrollment, the deadline to opt out of the program before it starts is September 10th, 2025. Now, you may opt out anytime after that date as well, and you will be returned to the National Grid Basic Service on your next meter read. And like I said, there is never any penalty or fee to opt out of the program. So if anyone wants to choose a different product option, all you have to do is go to weymouthcommunityelectricity.com and choose the enroll or change option, put in your information, and your request will be processed. If not, you can also call our supplier Dynegy at 866-220-5696. If you want to opt out of the program, again, there's 3 steps. Either you can return the postage paid card in your notification letter, or you can fill in the opt-out form from weymouthcommunityelectricity.com, or again, you can call the supplier at the given number. So we have had this question before, that why isn't that anyone with third-party supplier, are they going to receive letters? And the answer is no. Anyone currently using their own supplier will not receive the notification letter and will not be automatically enrolled. These customers can voluntarily join the program, but should check with their current supplier in case their current supplier charges penalties or early termination fees. Now, first I told you how you can enroll into the program, but now I want to show you what would it look like if you did enroll. So again, if you go to your National Grid bill and go to page number 2 under Supplier Services, you will see that instead of National Grid Basic Service, it will say Weymouth Community Electricity Dynegy as under the Supplier Services. The prices will be based on which program product you enrolled in. And since the program starts during the October meter reads, this will be the bill that you will receive sometime around mid-November. So a lot of you got the letter, but the town also tried to spread the word through different channels. One being the press release, some social media updates, FAQs, brochures and posters in the town hall, website announcement, and definitely the postcard sent to all eligible customers. So that's the end of our presentation. To summarize, the program starts in October 2025 meter reads. And again, this program is only going to affect the supply portion of your bill, not the delivery. The default and the plus product, they're both currently cheaper than the National Grid Basic Service. And again, you can opt out anytime without any penalty. So if you have any additional questions, I'm happy to answer here. But if you want to contact us, you can reach us at 781-222-0389. That's the customer service number for Good Energy. And again, if you want to opt out or change option, you can call the supplier, Dynegy, at 866-220-5696. Thank you. Yes. It's located in Texas. Yes. So do you have a third-party supplier?
Could anybody that has any questions walk up to
Okay,
the mic?
I will repeat the question.
So-
So the lady is asking that she has National Grid, but why hasn't she received a letter? So there can be 3 reasons for that. Either you have a third-party supplier, or you have a supplier block on your bill, which you may or may not be aware of, but you can call National Grid to confirm. Or it can just be a mail fail. Sometimes utilities make mistakes. They oftentimes miss some people. But if you want to enroll into the program, you can definitely let us know. Like I said, you can enroll via the online form in the program website, or you can call the supplier to enroll into the program, or you can give us your information and we can help you enroll.
Excuse me, Rafita, if we could, anyone who has questions, if they could go up to the mic, it would be much easier so everybody could hear it up here. And just thank you for that presentation. It's on the town website too. If they go to the town website, you can get all those numbers that were just said here.
Two questions. Did the town explore a possibility of a supplier that used zero renewable energy?
That wouldn't be possible because the state of Massachusetts has a rule that there has to be a minimum set of renewable energy that must be used, and that is 63%. So
And speaking for the town, can the town overrule with a home rule petition to get out of the lunatic fringe that's running the state right now? That's a question for somebody from the town, not from you.
Can you do a home rule petition to oppose?
Apparently not.
The guarantee
My second question is, my complaint is with my delivery charge. I don't mind paying for what I'm using, but my delivery charge in the past 2 months has been 125% more than the supply charge. So that's not going to change under this plan, correct? No.
yes, that's not going to change. That still depends on National Grid.
So will this new plan that you're proposing reduce my supply charge by 25% to get it more in line with what the bill used to be?
We cannot guarantee that.
So this is status quo. I'm still going to be paying twice as much as I was 6 months ago for less energy. I shut off every light in the house, and I'm paying twice what I used to pay. Thank you, State House. Capitol, Beacon Hill, you're killing us.
I have a couple of questions. If one opts in and then opts out, when does one just go back to National Grid as the basic supplier?
Yes, so if you opt out, then you will be automatically put into the National Grid Basic Service.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right. On the Dynegy website, it said that the utilities delivery service, that there's utility delivery service charges, there are taxes, and other fees are not included in Dynegy's price. So I have these questions. What are the delivery service charges, and what are the fees?
So the delivery charges are solely handled by National Grid, so that's not something that we are aware of.
about fees? Because this is what the Dynegy website says. I'm not making this up. It said that there are fees that are added in addition to the supply service fees, supply service charges.
National Grid.
So what are those fees?
By National Grid.
Yeah, by National Grid.
By National Grid.
No, it didn't say it was National Grid. It said Dynegy has prices in addition to the supply, which includes fees. I mean, they're not talking, that's a national company. National Grid serves us, but they serve a lot of
So
other companies.
Dynegy is a big company,
Yes, it
and
is.
besides municipal aggregation, they have their own sets of customers, and the way they serve municipal aggregation is not always similar into how they serve their other customers. But for municipal aggregation, the rules are different. So I don't think the thing that you probably read in their website applies to this program.
What was the basis of Weymouth choosing Dynasty, or whatever it's called, Dynegy? What's the basis that the town chose it over others?
There was a competitive bid process put out. We put it out as a solicitation through Good Energy, and there was 3 respondents?
Yes.
I think there were 3 respondents in Good Energy when they did the solicitation for us, and and Dynegy was the lowest of the 3 suppliers.
Yes, plus among all the suppliers, Dynegy was the only one offering to give us stable prices for 50 months, which is nearly 4 years. So that was definitely attractive to the town, and we managed to get prices, like for both products, lower than the utility basic service.
And is there a deadline for joining up?
The deadline to join this program, you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like September 10th, like before the program starts, but then you can join anytime after that as well.
So are you saying there is no deadline for joining? I mean, I'm not one of these people that got a card because I have another supplier, which I'm not happy with. But I have to do a lot more research before I'm just going to join in, because I made a mistake once and I'm not going to make it twice. So what I want to know is, let's just say November 1st comes around and I decide I'm going to join up with Dynasty. Oh, sorry. Let's say November 1st comes up and I'm ready to join. Is there a deadline? Is there a problem?
No,
with
there
that?
is no deadline. You can join anytime. However, we do kind of suggest customers that if you are with a third-party supplier, please contact them and be sure to ask them if there are any penalty fees or early termination fees, because if there are those fees, we suggest that you complete your contract, and after you're done with your contract, only then join
Right.
us.
Yeah, I've already contacted the other place, though. That I know.
Excellent.
I don't have, yeah. Okay. I guess that's it. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay.
Hi. Regarding signing up and not signing up, say I decide, okay, I'm not going to opt out now, but say 8 months down the road, I decide to opt out because I don't like it. Are there penalties or are there delays in doing that? Only because I did some research on Dynegy, and a lot of people complained to the Better Business Bureau that when they went to opt out, it took like 2 months for them to show it in the bills.
Yeah, so like I said before, there are no penalties whatsoever. If you want to opt out, you can opt out anytime. And
How long does that process take?
so
though?
it should take like 1 meter read for it to reflect on your bill that you're no longer with your program, but sometimes there might be delays as well. We try to work with the suppliers to avoid that as much as possible. But we're also, like, we have our own customer service line. So if people are facing any issues, they can reach out to us so that we reach out to the suppliers and to make so that we can reduce these delays as much as possible.
Okay, so what do you say about the bad reviews you have gotten from the Better Business Bureau? I mean, it's not a social media, it's the Better Business Bureau that are taking complaints about Ginergy, but when they were taken over by something other company,
Vistra?
yes, it got worse. So my question is, have you answered the complaints already about your company?
So Dynegy is a separate company from Good Energy, and the complaints that you're talking about may not exactly be for municipal aggregation customers. Maybe there were other customers that are served separately by Dynegy. But when we do get complaints from our municipal aggregation customers, we readily address them. So the difference between the third-party supplier and us, and municipal aggregation, is that the town has us as consultants to kind of oversee this program and to work directly with the suppliers. So if we get any kind of complaints, we readily discuss them. We also have a legal counsel person to negotiate the contracts, to see any kind of issues that's been happening and to address it to head on. And even like notify customers that, look, listen, this is the issue, we are aware of it, we are working on it, and we will definitely get back to you after we solve it. So we have a clear communication process to address these issues.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
Hi there. I understand you had 53 communities just in Massachusetts who signed up with Dynegy?
Yes,
All
we
right.
don't work with all of those
No.
communities, but Dynegy is currently serving 53 communities in
Alrighty.
Massachusetts.
Have we had any feedback from those other communities about what happens after the 50 months? Has anybody asked them how their rates went? Did they go up? Did they go down? Did we ask that question to the other communities at all?
Like, not really, because those rates are mostly locked in for a number of years. So, and if municipalities have municipal aggregation programs, they definitely have their own program websites. So if you want to go and see, I don't know, let's say Boston's aggregation rates, you can just go to their website and see what the rates have been. So it's pretty much public knowledge, so we haven't had the need to kind of go and ask them.
So
like-
you didn't ask that question to the other communities and kind of compare, what it was going to be like after the 50 months? No?
Many of the communities haven't had it for 50 months.
Oh, really?
A
Okay.
lot of the communities that have opted into aggregation are opted in for 24 months or 30 months or 36 months. We chose the longer stability rate because of what the forecast says in electricity in the future. So at the end of that 50-month period, our plan would be to do this again, as far as the procurement, to put it back out and get more bids in to make
Oh,
make
okay.
sure we're doing the right process and getting the right number from the right companies. It may not be Dynegy.
Okay,
And
good.
maybe
That's what I
the
was
next,
wondering.
after 50 months could be somebody else.
It could be. Okay, that's good to know then. Just want to be sure that, after 50 months, we weren't kind of stuck with them, that you are going to be actually looking for others that would keep the rates down. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Hi, I'm Don Stewart. I'm from 549 Essex Street in Weymouth. And my question is, National Grid has some pretty good rebates, for various products. Is this new company going to offer rebates?
No. Your rebates will stay put even if you participate in this program.
So we'll get the same rebates?
Yes, unless you're a Green Up customer, if you're with National Green Up, if you have that, then I don't think you can participate in this program because they have a rule that if you are a Green Up customer, your supply has to be with the National Grid Basic Service. But other than that, if you have any other rebates, it shouldn't be impacted if you participate in this program.
Well, maybe that's some, the question I had is, are the current rebate offers going to be still offered? The National Grid office? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that whatever rebates you're being offered, that won't be impacted if you participate in this program.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Ed Cowan, 56 Wilson Ave. I had a couple quick questions. I'll make it quick. When did this process begin, like the very beginning of it for the town? Like, when was the first conversation had about this? What year?
The first reiteration of any kind of planning was in 2018 when we were approached by the Mass Area Planning Council to have discussions about community aggregation.
Okay. I know you said you can opt out and jump back in. Is there a limit on how many times you can do that? Can you jump back in, back and forth? Like, because some people want to know that.
No, there is no limit.
Okay.
There might be a possibility that suppliers, like if someone opts in and opts out too frequently, suppliers might offer a market service rate. However, for residential customers, we have never seen that happen. And if it does happen, customers will be duly notified at least 30 days in advance. So I don't think residents need to worry about that at all.
Okay. I know you said you can. The people who will be opted in, basically, they'll be for the regular plan for the town, through the town. But how do you join the Weymouth Plus plan?
Yes. So like I said, all you have to do is that you have to go to weymouthcommunityelectricity.com, and then on the menu option, there is enroll or change product. All you have to do is input your information, choose the Weymouth Plus product, and submit, and your process will be, and your request will be processed. If not that, you can also call the supplier, Dynegy, at 866-220-5696, and you can ask them to put you in the Weymouth Plus product.
Okay. My last one is just this. It's like a question and a quick statement to leave you with. Do any of this, like, I think it is a good thing that you all are considering options to control pricing on our utilities, electric, especially moving into the future where it could double, triple, you don't know. But do any of the schools have solar panels, so we're taking that amount of electricity being used off of our monthly bill as a town?
So as of right now, I can answer that a little bit because we control some of the solar. We don't have, this school here was designed with solar-ready equipment. There are not solar arrays currently on the roof,
Okay.
but it's prepared to accept them. Reasoning was that we did the analysis for the cost savings
Okay.
and the expenditures that we would have had to expend at the time we were building the school, and it just didn't weigh out in the community benefit.
Understood.
The library, the new library at Tufts, we do have a solar array because, on the contrary there, because of the energy rating system, we were able to get a higher energy rating by doing that, which got us a significant six-figure rebate back for putting solar panels on the roof. So that does currently have it. In 2015, we went through an extensive process prior to me taking the position as Director of Asset Management, but in 2015, I was involved, and we went through an extensive process of analyzing our buildings and structures throughout town, especially the schools because of the square footage. And many of them do not have the structural stability for the roof load, and the other ones that did have other hurdles, i.e. being a roof that would need to be replaced before the end of life of the solar array. And what the solar companies had informed us was that if we put a solar array on the roofs of these buildings, and then the roofs had to be replaced during that period of time, that we'd be responsible for the removal of the solar arrays, any maintenance that had to be done, and the reinstalling of the solar arrays, so it became a deterrent for cost. What we do have in place that we've had since late 2017 is, and I don't know, some people know, some people don't, a solar off-taking program. So we did some research at that time and entered into a program for solar off-taking, which was governmentally mandated to the solar developers to give back credits to county government, state government, and municipal government. We entered into that program, and we actually currently receive solar credits from 2 solar arrays not located in Weymouth, ironically, on the roofs of WB Mason in Brockton and Bob's Storage in Stoughton. And we received the solar credits because they were mandated by federal government that the developers had to give back that volume of solar credits back to one of those agencies. And we were fortunate enough to get into these 2 programs back then, and we receive a good amount of money back in solar credits, and they're applied to our streetlights, our police station, and our town hall.
Okay. The last thing I was saying was this, I think, like I was saying, this is part of like the supply side to supply, saving a few cents for residents and the town maybe. But I mentioned before about the town possibly maybe joining BELD in the same way that they're talking about joining the MWRA. I just think that to leave you with that, I think that we should at least know the answer to that, how much it would cost, like to have our own municipal utility. I think that's something to at least consider, find out the price, and that's all.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Steve Lamont. I live at 16 Thistle Lane. My question is directed to the town. It seems to me that you're going to have to track the success of the program and then publish it on the website, you know. That makes perfect sense to me. This is where, in the past, a lot of the competitors, for me, I tried Mass Gas Electric for a bit, you know, and they failed. And so you just have to pull the plug. It took 3 months to make that change, but that's I'd like to hear what you guys think of that from Weymouth. Tracking the success or
Yes.
failure of the program,
Yes.
so that.
So thank you for your question. So according to the Department of Public Utilities, the DPU, we are obliged to kind of track the success of the program and in terms of providing them with an annual report. And that annual report will be not only be submitted to the DPU, but after they will review it, and after they review it and approve it, that will be published in the program website for everyone to see. So it's going to be publicly put out there.
Okay, the program website is in Weymouth? Is
Yeah,
that
the
one?
WeymouthCommunityElectricity.com.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sure that'll
Thank
be
you
on
so
our
much.
website. That'll also be on our website also. Part of our website.
Hi, my name's Rod Nodomines. I live at 47 Wilson Ave. You would put up a chart that showed like the price per kilowatt hour for the Weymouth Standard, the Weymouth Plus, and the National Grid. And, yeah, that one right there. And the National Grid one shows it 484. And, I mean, I'm a little confused because I kind of question, like, those are solid numbers, right?
Yes.
Because, I mean, I have my bill, and, I mean, it shows a National Grid, and it's the basic services is 14.84.
Yeah, so that was the previous price till July 2025. So these are the new prices which took effect from August 1st, 2025, and and this price will remain until Jan 31st, 2026, and the price will again change for February 1st, which is what I've been trying to say basically during the presentation, that the utility prices change every 6 months. But whereas the town has chosen 2 products where the prices have been locked in for 50 months.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for your answer.
Thank you for coming.
Hi, I'm Sandra Green from Pleasant Street. So I have two questions. One is, I know someone who's a new renter in Weymouth and didn't get the notice. How soon after they start with National Grid do they get the opt-in letter? Because they don't know anything about this.
So, because they're new in town, it's obviously highly likely that they did not receive a letter, but they do not need a letter to opt into the program. Like I said, they can just go to the program website. After they get a National Grid electricity account, they can just go to the program website, go into the enroll or change option, and input their information and enroll into the product of their liking. Or they can again call Dynegy at the number that we've given.
That's all well and good, but are they all going to get mailed something shortly after they become new National Grid customers?
Yes. So what we do is to kind of maintain the health of the program. So every quarter, we kind of do this process called a sweep process. So any new accounts that we have in the town, we send them the same materials so that they can they get informed about the program and they can get into the program. But before that happens, if they want to enroll into the program, they can follow the steps that I just mentioned.
Okay, my next question has to do with the differences between the Weymouth Standard and a Weymouth Plus. I really couldn't tell the difference between the two. There's really no clear explanation as to what one is versus what the other is. Are we essentially paying a higher price for someone else to create some renewable energy outside that's fed in? Is that what's happening?
No. So the Weymouth Standard, it's basically the amount of renewable energy that they're both offering. So the Weymouth Standard, which is a community default, is offering the same amount of renewable energy that the National Grid Utility Basic Service is offering, which is the state minimum, which is 63% in 2025. But the Weymouth Plus product is adding an additional 37% renewable energy, which equates to 100% renewable energy. So if someone chooses to opt up, the supplier that we have chosen will be required to put more renewable energy into the electricity grid to maintain your demand.
So that's how they get it. They add more to the municipal grid. It doesn't encourage Weymouth to create new renewable energy, does it?
Weymouth can do that, based on the Department of Energy Resources best practices. If Weymouth wants, they can choose to provide, I think through a PPA option, they can kind of choose to do, make more renewable energy through building those kinds of facilities, but that's something that we would need. That's something that the town probably has to decide if they want to go forward with, maybe in the future, but that's not something that we can answer as of now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for your questions.
Rose Stratford, Pexoit Road. Most of my questions have been answered except for one. Okay. If there was a power outage, all right, we stayed into this program, opt out of National Grid. Will we be put on the bottom of the list for service because we're not in National Grid? We are in this program for a power outage.
No. So, like I said, the Department of Public Utilities, which is the regulator for Massachusetts, electricity regulator, they have a law, and based on their rules, National Grid has to provide the same kind of services to all customers. They cannot differentiate between aggregation customers or other electricity customers. So if you have a storm outage, National Grid will be responsible to handle that situation. Your participation in this program should not be hampered. So, but in case there's any kind of issues, National Grid, by law, is obliged to give you the same kind of service that they are supposed to give they're supposed to give to other customers. So you don't have anything to worry about.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for coming.
Hi, Steve Pulio, 210 Park Ave. That lady just answered my question about delivery, so thank you for that. I have a question about supply. I guess both for the town and for good. Are we convinced that our new supplier is going to have a sufficient supply of energy, meaning no rolling blackouts, no requirements that we can only use air conditioning between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m.? Things like that. So have there been complaints in other communities that have done this kind of thing with this particular supplier? Some kind of assessments, those types of things.
So I think your question is more towards grid reliability rather than how the program is going to perform. So the supplier isn't responsible for grid reliability. It is the ISO New England, which is a independent nonprofit organization whose sole job is to basically kind of maintain the electricity flow of 6 New England states, and they kind of work every day, and they have like future predictions regarding how much electricity will be needed for a certain state or town, and they already have that knowledge, and so they already have that kind of supply and energy, and they maintain the grid accordingly. So the program and the supplier, that's not something that's concerned with grid reliability.
Okay, so the reliability has nothing to do with who the supplier is, I think is what I just heard.
Yes. So like I said, the ISO New England is responsible for that. So you can kind of think of them as the air traffic controller of the electricity market. So they, like the wholesale electricity, retail electricity, so making sure that electricity is flowing properly, there is enough power there's enough power for the future number of years. All those kinds of decisions are made by ISO New England.
Okay, and then I guess my last question is, in terms of why I would not opt out. So basically you're saying, I think I heard you correctly, we're going to save initially about $72 or $74 a year, which is fine. Are we banking on savings in future years? Is that the point here? That would be the reason?
Yes.
To not opt out?
So basically, we always give this disclaimer that future savings are not guaranteed because the utility price changes every 6 months. However, because of the nature of this program that provides competitive pricing and long-term price stability, over the years, a lot of our communities have had significant savings, like Quincy Community Electricity. So Quincy started their aggregation program about a year ago, and within 1 year, they saved about $3.1 million through this program. Then we have had Avon and Rockland, who are our longstanding communities, and since 2019, Avon has saved about $4.3 million, whereas Rockland has saved about $11 million. So, and also, as you can see in this diagram, in sometime around Jan 2023 to July 2023, there was a huge energy spike, and the National Grid cents was 33 cents, whereas Avon and Rockland were like in 10 and 11 cents. So you can see like how much stability this program has provided customers, rather than if they were with National Grid Basic Service. And you can see the ebbs and flows like very clearly through this graph.
Okay, thank you.
And Steve,
Thank you so much for coming.
Just for the math, if everybody that was mailed a postcard stayed in the program, or the vast majority, and saved $5 a month per household, it would be collectively over $1 million townwide.
Right, you're saying collectively, in the aggregate, $1 million.
aggregate.
So the 4 million and 11 million, those are in the aggregate in those communities, residential or commercial customers? Yeah, okay, thanks.
Yes, Martin Downey, 27 Holbrook Road. I guess my question goes to your negotiations with 3 other suppliers. And from what you said, I assume that the main reason for choosing this was because of the 50-month guarantee. Is that correct?
The 50-month guarantee with the most competitive pricing. They also provided the best prices, and which is what the community was rooting for, which is to provide their customers with the best possible prices.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Hi, John Barton, Poinsett Ave. Mike, a little closer? All right. Is that better? My question to you is actually Good Energy. Who are you? How were you selected? And you got to be getting some sort of fees for these services. And you said that this is not costing the town at all. So how do you get paid?
So thank you for asking the question. So like I said in my introduction, we are the aggregation consultant, and we work as an extension to the town to maintain this program. And the town does not pay us anything, and whatever we make is incorporated into the rates. So there is no additional payment that comes out of the town for us.
So you're an insurance agent, but have some sort of fringe that gets marked on the rates. You have to get paid somehow. How do you get paid?
So our payment is incorporated into the rates. So yes, the supplier pays us, yes.
Which we pay in general. How many towns do you represent?
We are currently working with over 60 communities in Massachusetts.
60 communities in Massachusetts. What is the biggest community that you represent in Massachusetts?
I think Brookline, Arlington, Somerville are probably some of our biggest communities, and Quincy, definitely.
And when you look at these companies, you do an evaluation of these companies. What are you using for your, who's doing your math? Where's your database coming from? It's something that how many people are in your firm who do this analysis? Can you just get us who you are? I mean, you got to come up with these numbers somehow or another. I buy energy for where I come from. I did it one time. And I depended on a consultant such as yourself. And we used to buy, it was gas, Texas Ohio gas. And I understand the pipeline like that. But where are you getting your matrix on? How do you figure out what a good rate is? Because you're projecting out 4 years, so you have some sort of a projection. How are you doing that?
Yes, we work with the suppliers to get those rates. And the suppliers also kind of give us reports weekly and monthly about the usage and the participation. And we calculate our savings accordingly.
So you totally depend on the suppliers. You don't have anything like somebody helping you out, figuring out forecasting where things like, obviously any energy come from Canada is under risk at this point. You're going from Texas, so the chances are fine with that. But
no, we do not source our renewable energy from Texas. We are renewable energy, like if we do offer them, is strictly class 1, which is new renewable energy. And that comes from the New England region and sometimes Eastern Canada or New York, but not Texas.
Okay, and this one's for the town. You would never opt to automatically change the standard to more renewable energy unless, the state told us, correct?
So if you want more renewable energy in the community default.
I don't.
Okay, if you don't, that's fine. Like, it's up to the town. It's up to the town. Like the town are kind of like, they're already premeditated that through this program, they would like to see like the maximum customer savings.
This is like directed to the town. The basic plan will be the minimum of the state always.
I can tell you that's what our thought process was initially,
Okay,
but to offer it to be 100% renewable.
And there is people out there that want to do God's will, they can go with the higher plan.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Sure. How are you, folks? Paul Fiella, Lake Street. This looks like it could be a very good program for the residents of Weymouth. A lot of time, effort, energy went into this. It would have been nice to see some of that time, energy, and effort go into fighting back on some of these delivery fees for the residents. But obviously, right? I mean, that's what's killing us. This is saving us $7 a month. Woohoo. Okay? My delivery fee was 125% of what my monthly bill was, of my usage. This isn't helping anything, you know? Anyway, so I guess my question is, and you semi-answered that, you're getting paid from Denergy, correct? Okay, so there's not going to be any fees to the town, not going to increase our taxes now or in the future because of this program or anything to do with this program, right?
So any consultants that we've talked to over the years since I've been involved, it's industry standard that they get paid on the other side from the utilities, whether it's Good Energy or another consultant or any of the power companies that we've dealt with over the past.
Okay. One last thing, and I'll leave. Why is there no representative from Denergy? And if you're the representative for Denergy, why weren't you transparent with that at the beginning of this meeting? Thank you.
I am not a representative of Denergy.
You're paid by them, so why isn't there a representative from there here? That was my question.
Laura Anderson from Roland Road. My question is, let's say these people are opted into the program, and some of those people don't pay their bill, their entire bill. So that means National Grid is not getting their payment, and DiEnergy's not getting their payment. What happens? Does that make the community aggregate responsible for those people that don't pay their bills?
No, I don't believe so. I think National Grid has separate programs to address these issues. I think,
Yeah,
like,
but that's National Grid. This is DiEnergy is not going to get their money from National Grid because National Grid's not getting their money. There are a lot of people that don't pay their bill.
Your rate is set for 50 months.
Okay.
Because of the way we did the procurement, there is a 50-month rate, and that's why it's out so long, and to keep that stable, so there's no, that for you personally, it doesn't matter what anybody else does, they're not going to increase your price.
Okay, and the last question I have, what if the DiEnergy goes bankrupt? What would be the scenario for, everybody would just opt back to National Grid?
So the town can negotiate another contract with another supplier, and if the town kind of chooses to not go forward to this program at all, then the customers can be reverted back to the National Grid basic service.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Hi, I'm Jill Falk, Lake Street. So I've worked in energy all over the U.S. for over 15 years. What I want to know is who regulates Denergy or the company that currently owns them. National Grid was regulated by the state as well as the federal government. So you knew that they had to live up to certain standards or they'd be fined or taken to court. What about Denergy?
So since DiEnergy, through this program and other programs in Massachusetts, they're serving the state, and the programs in the state, they're also, I think, regulated by the Department of Public Utilities.
Are they or are they not?
They are being regulated.
They are. How about the feds?
Since this program is by, it's under state law, so I think all the regulation is done through state policy. So I don't think it's impacted by, federal policies at all.
I don't know if that is comforting or not, because the feds do offer some guidelines by which utility companies have to meet. The other question is, Someone before me at the beginning of the Q&A talked about the fact that the reviews of Denergy and its owner were so bad. And I went online after she said that, and it wasn't just their users, but also the Better Business Bureau. And what do we do about that? I mean, part of when I worked for utility companies, one of the important things was customer service. And if this company, which is out in Texas, that's getting such bad reviews, and it's not just people like in Texas, but here in Massachusetts as well, what do we do? What kind of recourse do we have when we get bad service? And I'm not talking about, the delivery is National Grid, so we know that the wires and the poles and all of that, if there's a power outage, they're responsible for that. But if you get a bill and your bill is like way out of line and there's a problem with it, how do you get that resolved?
Yes, thank you for your question. And answering your previous question, we actually, I think the suppliers have, the federal policies are applied to them. I think it's applied through FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. FERC. So I think, and through that, and like locally, I think the Department of Public Utilities kind of oversee their municipal aggregation activities. And in terms of like kind of addressing their service in the aggregation process, like we said, Good Energy itself also has a customer service platform, and for Weymouth, we have a customer service line, which can be found in the last slide. The number is 781-222-222-0389. So if customers, are facing any issues, they can definitely call that hotline, and we have designated people to talk to customers about this. And you can also provide comments through the program website, weymouthcommunityelectricity.com, in case if you have any comments. And we will take that. We do completely address comments from customers, and we talk to them personally. And if we even sometimes tell them to send us their bills, and we walk them through that what could have been the problem. Were they using too much electricity at, during peak hours? We walk them through that, and if we see something fishy, if we see something that could be wrong, we directly talk to the suppliers regarding, what the issue is, and we try to solve it as quickly as possible. So yeah, these are the measures that we take, and we also directly work with the supplier to train their team. Sometimes we get customers who have spoken to, suppliers like Dynegy, and they were not satisfied with that phone call. They were not satisfied with the conversation. We ask, and they sometimes come to us. We note down their number, when they called, who they spoke to in the supplier, and we call back the supplier and tell them, like, listen, your communication, your service wasn't up to the mark, and we kind of ask them to retrain their, their staff to provide better service to customers. So since we work with the town, the utility, and the supplier, so we do our own diligence to properly maintain this program and the customer service.
How big is your customer service department? How many people will be serving Weymouth?
So I'm the program manager, and we have about a few people that are designated customer service people, and that has been working well for now.
Also, do you have an evaluation of the service that Denergy has provided not only to other communities, not just in terms of price, but in terms of service to other communities in Massachusetts as well as other states? And how can we get our hands on those reports? How can we review how good their service has been, how stable their rates have been, and what we can expect? What particular measures are you using for evaluation?
For their customer service, I'm not too sure about the evaluation. This is something that I would have to kind of talk to one of my colleagues and find out. I don't have that information as of now. But then, after, I get that information, I'm happy to pass it down to the town for you to, get your answer.
Are you expecting to get that information?
Yes, definitely.
When can we expect it? So we can, I want to kind of look at that before I opt in or opt out.
So if you give your information to someone at the town, your name and contact number, I can, talk to one of my colleagues about this and get back to you as soon as possible. Yes. Like, we can also provide that to...
You can put it right on the website.
We can put it, the town can put it on their website.
Okay, so you don't know exactly what kind of measures were used for the evaluation beyond price?
For the price, that all depends on the bidding process.
Besides price, what other measures were used to say this is a good company for Weymouth to go with?
They are one of the most qualified suppliers that we have, and I did provide some statistics that they currently serve 53 communities in Massachusetts, 14 of which we have worked with, and they have about 1.5 million customers, aggregation specifically, and they're a Fortune 350 company, so they do have an impressive track record. And we have kind of worked with them for a long period of time, and we have got to know them pretty closely, and we can say we have seen a strong track record.
The thing is, what I worked on was evaluation in California, in Michigan, here in Massachusetts, New York, Rhode Island, and those measures are you need to measure them. It's not enough to say the rates are stable, or they have these many, what? I am, sorry. So it's not enough to say that the rates are stable, that the prices are good, but there are other measures. And that's what I'm asking. As a program evaluator and someone who had to go before state regulatory commissions, I had to have those numbers and those measures. And so I'm asking, what do we have from Denergy other than stable prices and number of customers?
So let me answer a little bit of the public procurement process. So as we go out to public procurement for any product for a vendor, if that vendor's an approved vendor, which this is through DPU, for the state of Massachusetts, for us, we don't have the ability to deny that vendor the ability to bid the product as long as that they have the proper approvals. If they're the lowest and most valuable vendor to the town through the solicitation, we're bound to go with that company. And going into this process, all of the proposers were approved and met all the criteria to put a price forward to be chosen.
And I understand that, that there is that process, that if you meet certain regulations, I'm just saying that aside from what you've talked about in terms of price and the stability, we, especially residential customers, are putting our trust in this company, and we're saying that besides a price and someone saying, what was it, $7 a month, we're also going to have to deal with them on a daily basis. And if we have issues with them, yes, we can go through Good Energy, and that's good to know, and that's helpful, but who knows? I mean, when you see the reviews, it's a little unnerving to see what the Better Business Bureau says about them. So I know we've gone through the process. This is who we've chosen. If we could get something that shows us those evaluations and how their effectiveness and customer service were measured, that would be very helpful, those evaluations. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Long. I just moved to Weymouth a year ago. And first, I just want to thank you guys for doing this public outreach, because it's super challenging trying to communicate all this information to so many people. And so I appreciate that. And so a question I had was that, so right now the Weymouth standard versus the basic national grid service is about 8% cheaper, which is great. And I know that roughly in 4 or 5 years or so, the standard renewable energy is going to go up to like 85%. Like, I'm just wondering, do you expect that to hold up based on data with the existing towns that are already at 85%, or do you have any internal projections on that, or no?
Sorry, can you please repeat your question?
So right now, based on the information on the website, the total renewable energy in like 4 or 5 years is going to be 85% roughly, I believe, 87, like to be specific. And I'm just wondering, would you expect the savings at that point to be like roughly 8% versus what the market would be, or is that hard to say?
Yes, I think you're right. The total renewable energy, like around 2028, is supposed to be about 81 to 87%. So yes, we actually do see that happening because it's the state requirement. And so I think the thing that you're talking about is the RPS, which is the Renewable Energy Portfolio Standard. So beginning in 2003, it is kind of required by retail electricity suppliers to obtain a percentage of electricity they serve to their customers through qualifying renewable energy facilities. So each class has a different annual compliance requirements, as well as different eligibility criteria for qualifying facilities, and it is an annual thing. So with every year, it kind of increases a certain percentage, and that's something that has been premeditated, and that's something that has been agreed on. So yes, we do see that happening in the near future.
Also, yeah, I think this is a good move overall, and I'm excited for it. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Hi, my name is Mary Curry. I'm from Wharf Street in Weymouth. I am a renter. And my question is, how do you determine whether or not to pick the Weymouth Standard or the Weymouth Plus? I mean, how do you determine how much usage equals 63% of renewable energy? So how would I know and be able to determine which one I should be choosing, the Weymouth Standard or the Weymouth Plus?
So it all depends on your goals, from like what you want to get out of the product. So if your goal is maximum price savings, then you can choose the Weymouth Standard. But if you want to opt up and you don't mind paying a little more, but you want to be the most environmentally friendly, then you can choose the premium product.
Okay, because I just want to live comfortably, the same way that I have been. I don't pay attention to, how much I'm using, or I just want to, you live comfortably, worry
Yeah.
about that stuff. So how do I decide?
So that's the thing. So Weymouth Standard is the cheapest options, and if you're not, and that is what the community default is. And if you don't pay attention to, your electricity options and everything, then I think the standard product should be the best for you.
So does that mean that, say in the hot weather, I'm running the air conditioning, and it's running 24/7 on the 90-degree days. Do I have to be, that's what I mean, does that come into play with concern about being on the standard plan rather than the Weymouth Plus?
I think I can answer that for you. So your plan, whether it's the standard plan or the Weymouth Plus plan, does not change your delivery or your supply
How much you use?
at the end. At the beginning, it's how that energy is derived to be made, whether it's being derived from renewable energy sources or through other. So you're choosing to be more green or promote green energy if you choose the higher plan.
The Weymouth Plus? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ambro, and I live on Sunny Plain Ave. I just have two questions. One is, will the town itself be, because of this program, be saving money in all its electrical costs, and then, like with town hall, the schools, the police department, buildings, and everything, and those savings then trickle down to the residents? No. Okay.
So the town, so for all the town facilities, we do a separate aggregation that we're actually under contract now for 3 more years that we started back in 2017. So that's completely separate from this community aggregation. It's just, they're 2 separate lanes as far as what comes down from the DPU.
Okay. And my other question was that I feel that most people that I've spoke to about this program, it's taken everyone by surprise. And, to come here and hear saying that this has been going on since, pre-pandemic, and that no one really knew about it, I find that just to be a little disconcerting. And when the contract is up, will it be a little bit more out there for the public to maybe be in on the next time, or what the next process will be, instead of having to come to a meeting saying, this is what we're doing moving forward?
So since this program is just launching, so this is a community meeting that we're doing to inform customers as yourself about the program. But the next time, the program renews, I don't think there will be a community meeting unless the town absolutely wants it. So, but if there is a renewal process and new prices are coming, that's something that the town will definitely inform the customers via their own channels. But I don't think that we will do any more community meetings then.
I'm just asking for, I guess, a little bit better communication to the residents that something might be happening going forward. I mean, maybe it's not the consultants because, the decision was made, then you were brought in, but it doesn't seem like anyone knew prior to that we would be going through a process.
I think that this has been going on, like John said, since 2018. Himself and Bob O'Connor have been working on this with the prior mayor, Bob Hedlund. And we have had council meetings and numerous other meetings that were all public meetings where it was discussed in those meetings of what the process was here. And there was a lot that went into it over 6 years, but there were public meetings that were held, came before the council. The council was skeptical on it. We went back and forth. We had committee meetings. And we decided to go this route. I think that being on the council for 25 years, everybody was saying, National Grid has gone crazy, National Grid, our electric bills, what can we do? And we really can't do anything with National Grid, so this was an option to bring and try to get residents to save some money on their bills. And if it's something that you don't like, you can opt out, so it's easy for the residents to do that. You're not locked in. We didn't want to lock anybody in. And I think it's the best scenario for residents to try to see if they can save some money. So it was more just trying to help our residents, but they did do 6 years of work on it to bring it forward. And it was open, just so you know. It wasn't like we weren't talking in front of anybody. It was open meetings, and we discussed it.
Okay, all right, great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Just one quick question. My name's Jill Legier. I'm from Weymouth. I've been a lifelong resident. Always went with National Grid. Just a quick question because I'm not so familiar with suppliers. Would we be required to get new equipment or a meter to track being opted in to this program?
No, you wouldn't be needing to get any new equipment.
Okay, so this goes through National Grid. The kilowatts would be measured through them, and it goes to you and then to us? Is that how that works?
The supply will be done through the competitive supply that was already chosen by the town, and but there's nothing that has to change for the customer. Like there's nothing that you need to do. Like there's no additional things that you need to do to enroll into this program.
No, I understand we either opt in or opt out, but when National Grid comes and reads the meter, so you're relying on their information with the kilowatt usage and all that. So there is no other equipment required to opt in to this program?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure about that because that would be a game changer, I think, for a lot of people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, my name's Ed Conway. I actually ran for mayor of this town. I've been involved in this. Yeah. Ed Conway from Weymouth, grew up on Green Street in Weymouth, ran for mayor in 2016 versus Bob Hedlund and Sue Kay and four other people. So 10 years ago, I was involved in this, and I talked with Mr. Clark years ago about putting a solar farm at our town dump in East Weymouth. I had problems with, who was her name? Jody Purdy. She does the Back River. So whatever happened to that? Like with how I was gonna end up doing a solar farm there, and she made trouble on me and didn't want to do it. So that was like land that we couldn't do it on. Is that, so it became like a park thing that you couldn't put a solar farm there at a town dump?
I personally wasn't involved back then in that discussion, but I did hear of an idea that it was talked about, and it was not feasible to put it there due to a bunch of different reasons. One being the regulatory reasons that when the transfer station was closed, the restrictions that were put there. Restrictions. I could get into a lot of details because I know a little bit about the park myself now after being involved in when we redid it and stuff. 21 inches deep, there's a film that was capped. And to put the solar arrays on spread footings would have to be deeper than 21 inches, number one, right out of the gate. So that kind of took that off the table until at least, I believe it was 2030. But other than that, it's within the jurisdiction of conservation, and it's too close to the ACEC because of the way it winds through the park to be able to maintain it and to run the transmission lines out in the ground.
All right, so I got a couple questions. one of the questions is, like, say if you have say if you have a solar on your home, like in certain like situations, like with this aggregate, right? You can, say if you have 50% of your energy through solar energy, and then you have 50% through the aggregate. So in your case, do you get the 50% from the aggregate and then 50% from the solar energy for the people that have solar energy in Weymouth? Like for instance, like if you, like on certain supplies, like you said, they can't, if they enter a certain aggregate, a certain supplier, they can't get the aggregate, right?
Yeah, so if they're in a third-party supplier, they cannot be in this program simultaneously.
So now what about the people that have solar energy?
You mean like community shared
On their
solar?
home.
Community
Yeah, so
shared
say-
solar or residential solar, you can, so if people have residential solar, like they wouldn't really need to be in
Yes,
this
you would.
program because, you know, they generate most of their own supply. But you can still be part of the program for the times when you're not generating your own supply. But if it's community shared solar, you can definitely take part in this program. Like they're complementary, so that wouldn't be affected.
All right, so say if they had solar energy and they only had 50% of their energy, then they could still be into this program where they get the other 50% for the aggregate.
The cost of the aggregate.
Yeah.
Because like, this is the question I ask because I'm a solar energy person, and I do solar energy for residential homes in Weymouth. And so there's a lot of different questions that I have to ask because that's a good point, because different aggregates will lock you, and not allow you to do that, you know? Because this is why I do solar energy, is because of the delivery side. So for example, I have solar energy on my own house. And so I literally have avoided the delivery side by going solar energy. So what they've been doing for 10 years is that, yeah, you have to have solar energy. Everyone needs to go solar energy because by 2035, they have to have a certain amount, otherwise they get penalized. This is what's been going on for years. So
I think I understand where you're coming from. So basically, I think you're asking is that, you know, if you have solar energy, what would you get if you participate in this program? So like I said, if you already have solar energy and you're generating your own supply, this program may not be the best fit for you. However, like if you want to participate in the program, for the few times that you do pull from the grid, you know, you would be receiving the program rate, but you will still be credited at National Grid's rate. So I hope that we're clear.
So I wanted to just thank you guys for doing this because this is very important for the people to understand that this is very important about the aggregate, that it's getting you a cheaper electric bill, and that a lot of people don't even see this. That's why they're here arguing about these things that they don't understand, how important it is that they getting a cheaper energy. So it's not gonna affect them at all. And so this is what I want to say. I want to tell the people that even if you sign up for this, it's cheaper energy, and you're not, Dynegy's not good. Even if they went out of business, it's not gonna matter. There's gonna be someone else that's just gonna pick it up. It's not gonna affect anyone, whether they go Dynegy or what. That's the point here, is that I'm a solar energy guy, and I know the importance of getting through to the customers. And this is what's so important about this meeting here, to explain to the customers that, yeah, a lot of people don't know about, they're not even on a supply. They don't even know about a supply. So that's why I'm thanking you to put them on a supply so they can understand that the supplies are important. Like for me, I knew how important it was to go solar energy, that now I have literally wiped out my delivery side. So when I went solar in 2020, it was 23 cents. And now it's like 45 cents. It went up 7 cents every year since you've been on basic. And so that's what's so important, that everyone should be going solar energy, because it's no out-of-pocket cost and they're not paying anything for it, because the delivery sides pay for it all. Everyone in the whole state pays for it. So for you to go solar energy, this literally will wipe out your delivery side that these people are worried about. That's what's so important about this, and that's why I've been involved with this for a long time. Because back 10 years ago, you could literally, if you had the land to like go and buy a solar farm, you could literally put that thing in your backyard and create like 1,200 hours. And this thing would like be like getting you more energy than what you need. Like with solar energy, you can literally get 200% of your energy at a cheaper rate, because we're gonna literally go into blackouts. This is why it's so important to like have battery backup. This is what's happening in California right now. That's been going on for 10 years. And that's why they have battery backup. And now in New England, they literally have battery backup. They have the new improved battery that you're gonna need for on commercial jobs. You can actually have it the library. You can have like the battery backup, and this will literally take away from the grid. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, we're gonna have the battery backup. We're gonna need the battery backup. And so like a lot of people just don't understand this whole process, you know?
Thank you for your comments. We're going to try to move along so that we can get everybody to... Sir, did you have something?
This is your phone.
Do not. No. People, if they're able to go up to the mic, WETC is taping this, so they like to have you up to the mic if you could go up. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Rich Mahoney from Green Street. I have two questions. Was National Grid in on bidding to be part of this? They entertained this?
They were not part of the bidding process, but they're definitely, they do work with municipal aggregation.
Were they asked to be part of it?
No, they were not. And the thing is that they are not exactly really concerned with municipal aggregation, because it's just the supply portion of their bill, and that's not something where they make their profits. So they're more concerned with their delivery anyway.
Okay, well, this other part of the question has to do with that. They're going to lose millions as far as the electric supply. They're going to lose, National Grid will lose.
They're not going to lose millions, because they don't make any profits off their supply. Most of their profits are made through their delivery services.
What's to prevent them from getting pissed off with losing that and raising their delivery rates even more? Is there anything in?
No, like I said, the whole of the utilities and the suppliers and even the consultants, they're regulated by the Department of Public Utilities, and National Grid would not be able to do something like that without the DPU approving anything of that. And the DPU's best interest lies with the benefits of the customers and the residents of Massachusetts cities and towns. So National Grid or any utility cannot pull off something like this without the DPU, strongly acting on it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for your question.
Hi, good evening. I'm not sure how to go about saying this. I've been invested in a solar town, I guess you could say. It's out in Southbridge, Mass. I'm currently with a company called Solar Gardens. Have you ever heard of them? Perch Energy or Relay Power, either one.
Neither, but Southbridge is also one of our communities, so nice to meet you.
It's one of what?
It's one of our communities. It's one of the communities that we work
What it is I don't know how to say this, but my bill this month for my National Grid was $48, whereby the solar community pays for the rest of it, whereby what National Grid did not pick up, the solar companies pay for it. And I've had in the past year and a half to 2 years, have gotten a zero bill from National Grid. And I can prove it, I got it at home. But what I'm wondering is, right now I'm having the payments taken out of my checking account at my bank. I talked with this consultant from Relay Power who said you shouldn't have to do anything. I told him about what's going on here. I don't know how to approach this. He said just keep on doing what you're doing because everything has to go through National Grid anyway.
Yeah, he's right. Like for starters, I would say that if the program doesn't make sense for everyone, they can absolutely opt out. And like I said, that people who have solar, by participating in this program, it would mean that the few times that they do pull from the grid, they would be receiving the program rate while still being credited at the National Grid rate. But if that's not something that interests you, you can definitely opt out of the program.
Well, yeah, what was I going to say? I wasn't sure how to make, just continue with the payments out of my checking account to pay for this upcoming over here. He told me, he said, you can double dip if you want to, because you're getting the lower rate with the Weymouth Standard and you're getting the solar farm also. I says, really? Oh, okay. But I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. Now, there are some times where I guess you have to rely on the sun to help you along in situations like this. The more the sun is out, the more the solar is going to pay into it.
So you're concerned about your billing process and
Yeah.
why that's connected to your checkings account?
Yeah.
So that's not something that we can help you with because you're not going to be receiving two different bills. You will be receiving that one bill that you get from National Grid. And if that payment process is linked to your checking account,
Yes.
that's how it's going to go. That's something that you have to work with them, or you probably have to manually change that process, but that's not something that we can help you about.
Yeah, my consultant from Relay Power said National Grid will see that in your upcoming bills for this, and they'll make the proper adjustments. So I just wanted to let that be known. If you want to go into both, you can do that. You can either go to solargardens.com, I think, or relaypower.com, and perchenergy.com, or I don't know if it's .com or whatever it is, but they
Is this a
describe what
community
they-
shared solar thing that you're talking about?
I'm sorry?
Is this a community shared solar
Yes,
process?
I believe it is. I
Yes.
said to this guy, I says, is there other people in Weymouth, Braintree, and Quincy that are also in this program? He said, absolutely.
Yes, I mean, like I said, community shared solar is complementary with this program. So if you want to be part of both, you can do that. If you don't want to be part of this program, that's also fine. You can opt out. But if it's community shared solar, then it's definitely, you can definitely do that as well.
But I forgot to tell you, my supplier is Constellation.
Oh, then you cannot opt into this program until you cancel your contract with Constellation.
Oh, okay, so I just stay right where I am then. That's the supplier who,
Yes, so they're a
these solar-
third-party
yeah.
supplier. So like I said, if customers are with third-party suppliers, they will not be getting any letters and they will not be automatically enrolled. So if you want to be part of this program, you have to talk to Constellation, inquire about your contract modalities, and inquire if there is any penalty or termination fees. And we suggest to customers that if there are termination fees, to kind of go with the contract until it ends. And then if they want to join into the program, they can definitely opt in anytime they want.
Yeah, okay. I know there is termination fees if I
Yeah,
cut
so
out.
I would suggest that you, continue the contract until the deadline. And then after that, if you want to join in the program, you're most welcome to.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
One more.
Quick question. So if there's a problem or something doesn't look right on our National Grid bill or whatever, will National Grid be the people we call, or are we going to get bounced around between the three companies, saying, oh, you have to talk to Good Energy, or you have to talk to Energy, or is there any reason why we would ever have to talk to those two companies, or are we going to National Grid whenever we need to talk to someone or there's an issue?
So it depends on what kind of problem you're facing. So like I said, if you're facing any delivery-related issues or storm outages, wires and poles, or your delivery pricing, that's definitely National Grid. You have to consult them. But if there is any supply issue, then we're the ones to call, or you can call the supplier to check what's going on. We actually look into, as the consultant, and because we have a designated customer service, and so does the supplier. Like, you can talk to us and come to us to see what kind of problems you have. We tend to see both issues, but if it's strictly delivery, that's something National Grid will have to address.
So if something looks off on the bill, we're most likely talking to and dealing with National Grid. We don't have to figure out where the problem is ourselves and then be like, oh, this bill doesn't seem right. I need to talk to.
Call National Grid first, and they'll direct you on if it's not them right away. They'll tell you who to call. But
Yeah,
it's
'cause
probably,
the thing,
they'll probably handle it on their end.
Because the passing around thing, that's horrible. when
And
you deal with a company.
if you received a notification letter, I think in the second page, there is a customer service number for National Grid. You will find their number there, and then you can call them for any inquiries you have. And then there's numbers for Dynegy, and our program number is also given for this particular program. So all kinds of information is provided in that letter.
Okay, so it's a regular National Grid number, otherwise nothing changes there. And one other thing, as you said in the beginning on one of the PowerPoints, the R2, if someone's on that program, it does not change? They still have the R2?
So that's something that I, again, want to reiterate. So if people are in the low-income discount, that does not get affected by the program, because the program only affects the supply portion of the bill. However, the low-income discount is provided for the whole bill. So you don't have to worry about that. And for National Grid right now, that percentage is about 32%. But in, I think, 2 or 3 days, there's going to be a tiered discount system. I think it will go from 32%. There will be 5 tiers, 32% to 71%, depending on a customer's income level. You can definitely call National Grid or do some website surfing to see about that, where you qualify, but you will not be impacted. Like, that low-income rate discount will not be impacted if you participate in this program.
And say you go into this, you decide, I'm going to opt out, I want to go back to National Grid. You don't have to reapply and everything for the R2 because you're still in there with them, right?
No, you don't have to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Hi guys, you already know me. I just had a quick question with the Weymouth Plus, because it's a renewable energy. So it's more technical than anything to do with pricing, because I'm a solar guy. I have solar on my roof. I don't pay a bill at all. And every 3 months I get money back from the grid. Anyhow, how can you tell whether you're getting renewable energy or not? Say if like my neighbor's she's paying kind of the same bill as anyone else. If it's a technical question and you can't answer, I won't no harm against you.
No, thank you so much
Yeah.
for asking that question. This is actually a pretty common question that we get. So like I said, if someone chooses to opt up, the supplier is obliged to put more renewable energy in the grid to meet your demand. So this is like, basically it's like a pie concept that, you know, like if you're definitely getting a lot of green electrons, and that green electrons are being put into the pie, but then you don't really know, like if you or your neighbors are getting those green electrons to your house specifically. But we do know that if you are opting up to that, you know, with that product, that those green electrons are being put into the grid. And
right.
we have a tracking system called the Renewable Energy Certificates. So to track that, so if you know there's 1 megawatt hour of renewable energy being put into that grid, that gets retired. You know, like customers can claim that this amount of renewable energy we have used, because the supplier kind of retires that amount of renewable energy through the grid so that they can avoid double counting.
Okay, great. I was just asking for a friend who's sitting behind me. So.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out, all the residents that came out tonight. Great turnout here. Thank you to Rafita for the great work tonight and the team.
Thank you so much,
Good
Mayor
energy. You did a great job. Thank you to John McLeod, the Chief Procurement Officer, for his work on this, and Bob O'Connor. WETC is here tonight. They're taping it, so it will be seen all over WETC, so you'll be able to watch this again and get all the facts, which will make it easy for people. And thank you to Donnie Norton for his work here tonight. Thank you, everybody.